Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Mr. Snaps Cooking Show. Today we're doing another episode from the family recipe series. We're doing a recipe from my dad's mom, my grandmother. We always called her Mama Joe. We're doing Mama Joe's famous au gratin potatoes today. And we're gonna do a little bit different than she did it, actually. My Mama Joe always used, and I always keep a can in my pocket, kidding, but she always used a can of cheddar cheese soup. Now, depending on the amount of potatoes you're using, you could use 1 to 2 to 3 cans. In this recipe, would probably use, for this amount of potatoes, these are 10, medium-sized potatoes here, I would use 2 cans of the soup, and I would supplement each can with about a cup of milk, okay? We're gonna be making a roux, which we've done many times on the show at this point today. But what we're gonna do here, I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're gonna, in a moment here, we're gonna peel our potatoes and slice them on a mandolin. So we're not gonna actually be using a knife at all today. And then we'll be making our roux, combining everything and then baking it. So stick around and yeah, thanks. Okay, so we are going to be using a potato peeler here to peel our potatoes, and I'm just going to start that process right now. My grandmother, Mama Joe, she was actually from Ireland, and I remember in our family, we always made a big deal about St. Patrick's Day because of her. And I know in Ireland there was I know for a long time that the people there actually survived on nothing but for potatoes for, I don't know, something like 300 years. So it's definitely a big part of their culture. And so I guess it's kind of fitting that this is the dish that we're using to memorialize her. She always used to make it. I feel like I always used to have, like on holidays and stuff like that. Easter, she always used to make it. Definitely on, my family celebrates Christmas, and on Christmas Eve she always used to make these potatoes. I've never made them before. It's my first time making them, actually. I've eaten them many times, but once I get these sliced up, I'm going to wash them off a little bit, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how we cut them up using a mandolin. So stick around here with us, folks, and get ready to do some mandolin slicing. Okay, so we're doing some cutting with a mandolin. This is definitely not a job that you want to have dogs attacking you during that time. Because it is a very dangerous tool. I mean, anytime we're working with anything sharp, we pose the danger of cutting ourselves. And so that being said, I have learned the hard way about using a mandolin and cutting your finger. They have these guards here, which we're going to be definitely using the guard here. So I have this guard here. Well, actually, what I'll do is I'm just going to kind of get it started. There, don't listen to me. Don't do what I do. I'm going to get it started there. And we're just going to start cutting like that. There you go. We're making our... So also, you can. I'm just thinking of maybe in future episodes I can show us how to make potato chips. Okay, so now you can see we've got our potatoes nicely sliced. What we're going to do now is I'm going to put these into a larger bowl, I believe. Not sure what I'm going to do. But in essence, we're going to sit on these for a second, and I'm going to make our roux. So when you see us next, we'll be over by the stove working on our cheddar cheese. We're really making a Mornay sauce, a bechamel with cheese added. All right, so we're making our cheese sauce, really. But what that is we have 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put that into our pot here. And I'm going to start whisking. And it's not a very whisky task. It's pretty safe to be doing all this whisking. It's not actually very whisky. It's a really bad whisk joke. And I apologize for that, but only a little bit. What I'm doing here is I want my butter to melt, and before it burns essentially. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, or thereabouts at least. So the ratio is basically the same: 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour. Easy math to do. The same amounts. Here's my flour. And I'm just going to really whisk that in. And really what you want really to have the raw flour smell kind of dissipate. I don't know about that. I mean, I just wait till it turns kind of a darker yellow. Let's see, I'm not sure if you can see that through the camera. But it's not a long time. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. So now what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna slowly add in my milk. And the ratio there is, for 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of flour, I'm gonna eventually add 2 cups of milk. And then 2 cups of shredded cheese. But yeah, what you're gonna do, you're gonna see this happen. It's gonna seize up again, just like this. And that's how you know you're doing a good thing here. Once that happens, I'm gonna add more milk. That's a good thing. And then you just gotta whisk everything until it's very homogeneous. And it may completely seize up again this time around. It's probably not going to. It's definitely getting very thick. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add even more milk. You can start adding it at a faster rate once it gets going like this and gets set up as a thickening agent here. What we're actually doing is cutting, we're making a roux because the flour and the butter mixture is going to definitely thicken up the milk and the sauce. But another thing that the flour does actually is on a micro level, it actually cuts the cheese so the cheese doesn't get like really, really stringy. So it's kind of a nice thing for that. Kind of keeps the cheese in check. And at this point, I'm just going to add the rest of my milk. And just get it stirring and get everything up to temp, essentially. Another really important thing about this is we are going to season our bechamel sauce here. This is effectively what we have. And salt and pepper. And you can actually, because we're going to be adding this sauce to our potatoes, you can actually do a lot of cool things with this at this point. After you add the cheese, you could, I was just thinking you could actually add like sliced jalapenos, diced jalapenos, onions probably would be really good. Anything really, I mean, any type of pepper I think would be good for it. This is probably seasoned well enough right now. And I just wanted to make sure it's hot enough that it's gonna melt that cheese really well. Okay, so as I'm heating this up, it's really important actually, especially with like a pot like this, where I want to keep the whole sauce moving at all times, because I don't want to burn anything. I don't want to scorch the milk. But it's getting pretty warm here, so what I'm going to do is slowly add our cheese, and just like we did with the milk when we added it to the flour butter, I'm going to slowly add this in. Make sure everything's dissolved, or not really dissolved, it's really more like melted. Okay, it's melting really well. It's doing a really good job of that. Yeah, we're getting really good temperature here too, so I'm gonna actually turn it down a little bit. Okay, this is looking good. What I'm probably gonna do here is almost all of it. I might as well just put all of it at that point. Just really get it all stirred in, and there you go. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, in just a second, our next shot here, we're gonna be, actually, one thing you wanna do it's very well seasoned, tastes great. It's essentially your cheddar cheese soup there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this over to our other area, and I'm gonna be combining this with our potatoes, so stick around. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna be adding my cheese sauce right to the mixture there. And because this is such good stuff here, I want to make sure I get every last drop of it. And then I want to do my best at this time to thoroughly mix. And you'll see how that process goes. So here we go. The reason why I'm using such a big bowl is because I want to have the opportunity to really mix it up. The recipe that Mama Jo left for us said to pour over the potatoes and bake for at least 1 hour, stirring every now and then. And so I just don't know how effective I'll be at stirring. She was probably much better at it than I was. And I'll be using this dish, and so I didn't know how well it would be. And so once everything looks pretty well coated, which is really starting to look like that, I'm gonna empty this into our baking tray here. And like I said earlier, I do have our oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just gonna pour this in. And the directions don't say anything about covered or uncovered. And so I don't know what to do about that. I'm gonna take a stab at it and just say we're not gonna cover it. And just see how that turns out. And if everything gets totally burnt, well then we'll know for the part 2 of this episode that you were supposed to cover it. And so I'm just gonna kind of layer this in. And you know, if there's any Snaps family members watching this, I think there's a few, did Mama Jo use, for some reason I have in my head, she had like in a tinfoil lined baking tray. I don't know why that image sticks out of my head. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to pop this guy into our preheated oven, and we'll check back in an hour. We may check in earlier, but we'll see you soon. Hey there, so it's been about 20 minutes, and this whole thing about covered or uncovered and the stirring bit, we didn't put it in covered, but the thing is, it's only been 20 minutes, but I am gonna take it out right now and I am gonna give it a stir. And the reason why I kind of realized that was, I don't want everything to burn on top. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna use my spoon here and just kind of give everything is moving around a little bit, so we don't want anything to get too burned up here. Now I understand. Now I get it. You know, I thought I assumed something, you know, and they say it's not a good thing to do that. You know, make assumptions. And so here we are. And fortunately, it wasn't like I assumed that, you know, I don't know. You didn't. We're fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to put it back in the oven here. And in about another 20 minutes, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull it out, stir it up. That's what it says to do. It says stir occasionally. You know, so here we go. We're going to be stirring occasionally. Like I said, occasionally you're supposed to stir this stuff, so it's kind of a new occasion for this. And oh yeah, I want to keep that oven mitt on because the last thing we want is a 2nd or 3rd degree burn on our hand. Because no matter how good these potatoes are going to be, that would kind of put a damper on the whole meal, I believe. So we're going to give them another stir here. And we will see everyone. We'll see how they look in 20 minutes because the recipes did say cook for at least an hour. And in 20 minutes, that'll be at least an hour. That will be 1 hour. So, you know, maybe we'll go an hour and 10 minutes. Hour and 20 minutes, we'll see. It's been about an hour here, so let's see how we're doing. We're looking pretty good here. We're looking pretty good. I'll tell you what. You can see we're starting to get some really good brownage. But I don't know if it's to my liking yet. I might actually put this back in. The recipe did say at least an hour. So what I'm going to do, I'll put this in for another 20 minutes and see what happens. But I got a feeling, the way this stuff smells, it's going to be pretty good. All right, it's been, actually I put the timer on for 30 minutes this time around just to kind of give it one blast here. And you can see we've got a really good product looking here. And yeah, this is my Mama Joe's all gratin potatoes. Now, I looked it up, all gratin, and basically it means topped with cheese or breadcrumbs. I can't remember her ever putting breadcrumbs on here, and it's not in the recipe. I actually have another recipe in our family cookbook that maybe we'll do it another time. It does call for breadcrumbs, but not today. And so I'm looking forward to diving in here, but it's definitely too hot right now. So we're gonna let it cool for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll dive in and taste Mama Joe's all gratin potatoes. Now I have to say, as it's baking here in the oven, the smell in our kitchen it's incredible. It's incredible to me, the memories that it brings back of being in her kitchen back in Michigan. It's just incredible. It's really cool. It's really cool that food can do that. So we'll see you in about 10 or 15 minutes. Hi. So it's been about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're gonna take a little sample here of our potatoes here. See how they are. They still smell amazing. My dog thinks he's gonna get some. He's totally not gonna get any, by the way. But I'm just gonna move this a little farther from the counter space just to ensure that. So why don't we head over here? We'll give us a taste here. Yeah, I've been going through the family recipe book here, and it's just great to go through. Okay, dogs. All right, so but I do want to give it a taste here. I gotta say it. I haven't had this probably since Christmas Eve, 98 or something like that. But hey, Watson, can you come here for a second, boy? Come here, boy. Good job. It really takes you back to the flavors, and the smell is just amazing. It tastes delicious, and I really hope you all can try it. You know, it's a really easy recipe. Basically, you know, you saw we just made the cheddar cheese soup. You can use the cheddar cheese soup from Campbell's if you want. Campbell's is not sponsoring the show, by the way. That's fine. Even though I reached out to them multiple times, it's fine. And then just make sure to add some milk to the soup, and you'll be fine. But yeah, I hope everyone can enjoy it. We're getting a lot of positive feedback here on the family recipe series, and I hope to include some of your family's recipes as well. So let us know in the comments, and we're gonna keep cooking here. So everyone, I hope everyone stays safe, and Happy New Year to everyone.